Hi, I'm Kenneth Lund. I'd like to show you my quilt frames and explain to you how they work. It's a track type mounted frame, and the sewing machine sets on a carriage that moves back and forth. Here I have the quilt removed for so you can see the frame, but this carriage moves back and forth, and then the longitudinal carriage also moves. So you can quilt along just like so. I also call it a pantograph type frame because on the handle here is a follower, so you can easily have a pattern and follow along if you like. Personally, I prefer to do it freehand. I really don't like trying to follow a pattern. I like to do stippling and then just free motion quilting. The frames that I sell are sold in a kit version, and I say that it takes about $10 worth of materials to complete the frame. So let me explain that. The tracks are made of a couple of pieces of wood, and there are several options that you can use. One option here, piece of track I've made, I used a regular lumber 2x2 for part of it, and then a piece of pine 3/4 thick by about 2 inches wide. And the tracks set like this, and the wheel ends up rolling against this shoulder. That's one method you can use. Another track type that I make, I use a couple of pieces of plywood. In fact, the track setup that I have here has the plywood type of track. Either way works fine. If you use a couple of pieces of plywood or molding, just simply one sets on the other like this, and you can either use some glue and a few clamps, or you can put a few screws in it to hold it. But that's really all that's required of the tracks. And then with the tracks, they just are fastened to the end frames right here, either from screws in from the end, or you can even use a little angle bracket. A lot of flexibility. Now I want to show you how the rolls are made. Very simple. Basically, you'll need you'll need 3 pieces of 1/2 inch diameter electrical conduit. They come in the hardware store. Looks just like this. A 10-foot length at my Home Depot in Salt Lake is less than $2. Now here's the neat thing. You decide how wide you want your track, how wide you want your frame. You make your 2 track pieces, and then you have your conduit pieces cut. The 10-foot lengths are great if you want a really wide frame, but a lot of times it's nicer to have a narrower frame for smaller quilts. This frame that I use for like lap quilts and such is about 48 inches wide. It makes a nice frame for kind of demoing the things I do. Now, with once you have your conduit selected the length you want, you simply the supplied rod end has a thread and a coupling. You simply slip it on the end, you tighten one screw, and that's it. You're done. That's all there is to the rolls, with the exception that, okay, there it is with the handle on. Now, I want to show you. You want a leader strip to attach to the roll of material so that you can attach your quilt to that. And the leader strip, I just use a simple piece of muslin or scrap material. Maybe if you want to get fancy, you can hem the ends of it a little bit, but you can just set it up to the roll widths that you want. I usually use a piece of strong tape, either like a duct tape or a little fiberglass reinforced tape. Tape it to the roll and you're done. You're ready to mount your quilt to it. In mounting the quilt, I usually like to use a safety pin to just pin the quilt to this. Rolls up. The rolls, go right on the frame and you're good to go. So the reason that I supply the frame in kit version is that the cost to send the lengths of either 2x2 or the plywood strips, and also these long half-inch conduits, it costs more in postage than it costs to just go up to your local hardware store, grab a couple of things and put it together. And the big advantage is this is so simple that you can have you can make several sets of extra rolls. So if you want to work on different quilts, but maybe you want to set one aside for a while, but you don't want to have to dismount it from the rolls, hey, a set of extra rolls is less than $5. So say $5-6 in materials for a whole set of other rolls. How cool is that? Anyway, thanks for taking a look at my frames. They're a lot of fun to use. Big advantage is that with this frame, you sit while you machine quilt. With a lot of frames, you have to stand and lean over. You're working the back, you're working the front. Not with this. You comfortably sit and you work the quilting just the way you normally would, almost as close to your machine as when you're sewing your quilt top. So it's a great option for people with disabilities, or for those that come home from work and would just like to sit down, relax, have fun, enjoy their hobby. This is it. Thanks so much. I'm Kenneth Lund.